Michigan coming back late in the game and then in overtime to get the win against Alabama, man. Ben, this one, I mean, went back and forth. You had Michigan's defense dominating, just blowing this thing up, and then all of a sudden, Bama's run game starts to turn it up. Then Bama's up late, and Michigan, you had everything in this game, went to overtime. What did you see? What did you like, man? And what are your thoughts, man?
Well, I'll tell you, this was a game where it was really a defensive battle, if you really think about it. Both teams stepped up, played well defensively. Both teams were able to get to the quarterback at times. Jalen Milroe, though, I got to say, I was very impressed with him. I thought, coming into this game, this is, the big stage now. He did well against, Georgia. I'll give him that. Sorry, Anthony. But,
we are going to talk about our game later. Remember that.
Yes, we are, unfortunately. But I thought Michigan's defense is just so good. I thought they would really, just fluster him. But what they did with Alabama, they made adjustments. He ran the ball more. He used his legs. He was able to get past that Michigan defense. He picked up several first downs. And he was really the star of that offense for Alabama because, look, the running game for Alabama didn't really do much. It was Jalen Milroe in the second half that got it going. And, for Michigan, I got to say, J.J. McCarthy was great, just really great. I mean, he played like he was probably the best quarterback we've seen in the bowl games so far. Maybe not statistically, but just control-wise, from start to finish, just willed that team to win and made a key fourth down pass that, kept him in the game and got him eventually that touchdown late with Corum, running it in, and it went to overtime. So, I mean, Michigan made the plays down the stretch when they mattered, and they were able to get the win. And finally, Jim Harbaugh got that big win in a college football semifinal. That was he's got that weight off his shoulders, at least this game. Now he's in the national title game.
Oh yeah, and we cannot downplay that, and we can't downplay who he did it against. Anthony, you know this guy. You have gone against St. Nick time and time again. You've had to face them. You just went through that. This game wasn't a blowout. This game, Michigan had to prove that they can win it. And with 4 minutes left in the game, Alabama was up, and firm control. Talk to me about kind of, what Alabama is, but what happened towards the end that kind of when they gave the game away?
One of the things about Alabama this season is Alabama. You and I have talked about this ad nauseum over the several years that I've been, we've been back and forth now. Alabama has always suffered from what I have called repeatedly an embarrassment of riches. This year, for some reason, though, I don't know if it's just because they've lost so many players to the NFL over the course of the last several years. And the transfer portal and NIL and that kind of thing, is that they weren't able, normally Alabama would be able to reload. That's a big thing with Kirby at Georgia, is the defense always had fresh legs. And for some reason and then of course Blake Corum. What else can you say about, I can't really say too much about Blake Corum that hasn't already been said. That last touchdown in overtime said it all. It didn't matter. You could have had Reggie White. You could have had Reggie White and Mean Joe Green and Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and James Harrison on that front five, and Corum was getting in that end zone. He might have been missing an arm and a half a foot, but he was getting in that end zone. So I honestly, I think that, look, we talk about who wants it more. How bad do you want it? Michigan wanted it better than Alabama did, I think. Basically, at the end of the day, and that's saying something, because Nick Saban generally can find a way to get his guys motivated.
Yeah, I thought he was going to keep him back in it. Alec, like Handy said, Corum took over the game. When Corum gets a touchdown in the game, I think they said the last 31 games they're undefeated. You know what I mean? Know what we all talked about it in the chat. Where's Corum going to fall in the draft? Where could he move up? Where can he move down? But even if you look through this game, at the beginning, when I first saw this game, they started passing all the time. I'm like, what are y'all doing? When you go to the dance, you dance with the one who brung you. Corum is the guy. I don't care if you run goal line with 2 running backs. Still do it, and Corum is still going to get that yards with the line. So talk to us about, them, Michigan, this finally becoming what we thought they were going to be.
I mean, like you said, you got to ride with the hot hand like you had all year. And it's like you can see like the first half, like they were slowly getting involved, and then they stepped back. And then third quarter they were trying again, and they stepped back. And then when it came down to I guess they thought each drive that they stopped Alabama, they said, okay, well, if we could stop them, we can we don't gotta worry about them scoring again. And once Nick Saban, he's known for second half adjustments.
Yep.
Certain team in the SEC does, Georgia. They do. But
I mean, just saying. Please continue.
They use so the fourth quarter, you can once they went to overtime, you can sense they were you know what? Let's just run the ball and just pray our defense stops. And as soon as they started, they gave Corum a touchdown, and it was just that was that. It's because I think he only had 21 rush attempts.
Yeah.
In that game, but it's with Alabama, they were you can, if you have a great running back like that, you gotta use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Because if you noticed how JJ is, he does these unnecessary passes that are not needed. It'd be short routes that he'll try to pass, and it'll be double. It would be in double coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just what the heck are you doing? And then you see him
Hero
the ball.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So
I noticed that, especially. I mean, and I'm not going to take anything away from that last drive because that was great. I mean, Ben, you talked about it. I mean, he was hitting people. That fourth down was amazing. But I'm not going to lie. I texted in the group chat. I said, all right, this is the time to be great, because up to that point, McCarthy really, he was the one thing I thought was holding them back a little bit. I mean, the run game was so strong. That defense, Alex and I talked about this all year, about that defense is one of the most underrated defenses in the country. You know what I mean? And it's because there is so much star power. Anthony, what's up? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, that's a Michigan defense that is quite possibly, and Michigan has been the cream of the crop of the Big Ten for a bit. That is quite possibly the best Michigan defense I have seen. This year's defense, and more specifically, last night's defense.
Right.
Because that was I think the touchdown, the Blake Corum touchdown, like Alec was saying, was the catalyst. It was he got them amped up because the defense they were very good, but they were kind of hot and cold because, Jalen would come out there and move the ball downfield real quick. Them boys tightened up. They huddled together on the sideline. They said, we got to make this stop. They tighten up, and they shut it down.
I mean, I think there's one point in the group chat where Ben was sitting there saying, would they need a turnover? And then, literally, the next play, they recovered the fumble. And it's just
turned it over. Yeah.
And
the biggest worry was, that missed field goal, or the extra point, definitely was I was please don't let that be the field goal that cost them the game.
Yeah.
That's all in 2020. I was this would have been a win right here. But I was I'm glad. With that game, if you weren't watching that game, you were missing out on the best 4 quarters I've seen in college football playoffs.
Yeah.
I can't really say it safe because I didn't get to watch the Sugar Bowl, so I can't really vouch for that game. But that was the greatest 4 quarters I've seen in the Rose Bowl game in quite possibly 4 years.
It was beautiful. It truly was.
College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Russo.